Here we are again. We're going to talk about a little bit of football. So, the New York Jets, are they going to go 0-16? Last year, the Miami Dolphins were the worst team in football. And there were no questions about whether or not they were the worst team in football for most of the season. And the New York Jets weren't this bad last year. But things have definitely turned for the worse. I feel like it started in July. I feel like in July, when the owner, Woody Johnson, was accused of racist, sexist comments, and whether he said or didn't say certain things has definitely been up for debate. He denies it, so it's a he said, she said, he said, they said, he said kind of situation, right? Which is not all that unusual. But for the Jets, this has been a rough time for a franchise that was already having a rough time. 2015, they were 10-6. The last time they were above 500, that was after a season they were 4-12. They would have made the playoffs, but they lost the tiebreaker to the Steelers. So Pittsburgh makes the playoffs, the Jets don't. But the optimism was there. I remember the optimism with the Jets because I remember the year after saying, well, the Jets aren't going to make the playoffs. And there were Jets fans saying, no, we were 10-6. You're underestimating what we might be able to do. They went 5-11. 2017, 5-11. 2018, 4-12. And it feels like every time they try to fix it, they make it worse. So last year, they were 7-9. Now they're in the same division as Miami, so that's a couple of wins right there. Or should be a couple of wins, right? This year, they are now 0-6. So at the time I'm recording this, they've just finished a miserable performance against the Dolphins in what I'm sure was going to be the most watched game of the week. Who's going to win, Jets or Dolphins? Who cares? The interesting thing about this is they now have a record from 2016 until now, so not including 2015. I should put a line in between there. So since the last time they had a positive record in a season and almost made the playoffs, they're now 21-49. That is remarkably bad, and this is coming from a guy who cheers for the Chargers, a guy who cheers for the Bengals. The Bengals are 1-4-1, and much better than the Jets because they're able to get leads and put up points. They just don't have defense. But if that defense ever shows up, and they've got to stop letting Burrow get sacked. But this is about the Jets. Now, I know I'm wearing a hat for the Broncos because, sure, why not? I don't have a Jets hat. If I had a New York Jets hat, I'd be wearing it right now. So, week 1 at Buffalo, they lost 27-17. Respectable. Buffalo is 4-1 so far this season. At the time I'm recording this, they still have yet to play their game this week. So that's not a bad result, Darno, as the starting quarterback for that week. But week 2, it looks ugly. At home against San Francisco, they lost 31-13. Now, San Francisco's 2-3, but coming out of week 2, you're probably thinking, well, they lost to Buffalo and San Francisco, two teams that had good records last year. Week 3, at Indianapolis, a team that's 4-2. They lost 36-7. This is where it just gets ugly. So while two of these teams have a plus 500 record of Buffalo and Indianapolis, really it's starting to get worse. Now versus Detroit in week 4, they lost 37-28. Now Detroit's 2-3. So their record again, 0-4 at this stage, losing 37-28. It is not a horrible score, but again, Detroit, a sub 500 team, again, that are 2-3 now. The Arizona Cardinals, they are 3-2 currently. One of those 3 wins is a 30-10 win they had last week against the Jets. And it feels like this week is bottom. Because this week at Miami, they lose 24-0. Now, Miami is 3-3 after this win. The combined record of the teams against them, 18-14 altogether. But if you subtract the wins over the Jets, they're 12-14. So really the record for the Jets is absolutely stunning. And you have to wonder, how far can this go? So with bad trades being made last year, and Jamal Adams, I should say, stands out as the guy who you really don't want to lose, and you did. And Joe Douglas, who looked completely miserable during the game against Miami, they caught him doing some face palming during that game today. Miserable. And rightfully so. You have to wonder how long it's going to be until the GM is on the hot seat. And how many GMs do the Jets go through? How many coaches do the Jets go through? How many players are they going to move out? And how far is this going to go before it gets better? Now, of course, Darno is out. He's got a shoulder injury. And Joe Flacco's been in. Interestingly enough, coming into today, Joe Flacco had actually been 6-0 in his career against the Miami Dolphins, but he was a Ravens quarterback at the time. It just didn't happen today. It wasn't going to happen today. So to Joe Flacco, I say I'm sorry. You've had a very good career. You were a very good quarterback for the Ravens. The Jets are not the Ravens. This is tough. And then you look at their upcoming schedule. They're at home against Buffalo. I don't see them beating Buffalo. Then they go to Kansas City. Oh, the Chiefs. Sure. Then they're at home against New England. And while the Patriots looked very human today, and they've looked very human this season, this has been interesting, to say the least, early in the year. And maybe New England is finally going to come back to earth. Maybe they'll be a 500 team or below that at the end of the year. Then they go to the Chargers, play in LA. Then they're at home against Miami. So the Miami Dolphins, if they finish 4-12 and 2 of those wins are over the Jets, there you go. Then they're at home against Las Vegas. The Raiders early on this season look like they're going to be pretty good. They're at Seattle, at the Rams. So you can pencil those in as losses at this stage. They're at home against Cleveland. Cleveland, who got spanked today, but they're better than the Jets. And then they're at New England end the season. So for New England, a team that's below 500 as I'm recording this, they have two games against the Jets, 2 chances for wins. And there you go. One criticism that used to get lobbed at the New England Patriots when they were putting up these great regular season records was that their division was kind of weak. And I don't think the Jets make a good argument that it wasn't, or the Dolphins. Or, for the most part, before last year, the Bills, right? So, it's an interesting season that they're having. And I don't think it necessarily matters who's at quarterback. Now, with Flacco starting, they've had 10 points in their last 2 games. So, they're scoring a lot less than they were with Darno. But what's remained consistent is they're allowing too many points. See, there's this interesting thing about sports. The team that scores the most points usually wins. So they just have to figure out a way to score more points than the other team. And it sounds really simple, but it is not simple if you're the New York Jets. And the question of whether or not this is the worst run franchise in sports, I think that's a conversation we can continue to have. And right now, I would argue that they're the worst franchise in football. How they rank with other sports and other teams in other sports, I don't know. But anytime you hear somebody say, I think the Minnesota Timberwolves are the worst organization in sports, you can say, there's the Jets. The New York Jets are up there. And again, and I just use the Timberwolves as an example, because I know the T-Wolves have never really gone anywhere or done anything in football or in basketball. They really haven't done anything in football. But I should be nicer to Minnesota, because I know the Vikings right now, they had a rough day today too. But they're not the Jets. And that's a comment that I think 31 other fan bases should be saying. Even the Giants should be saying, well, we're not the Jets. Yeah, Falcons, we're having trouble, but we're not the Jets. And again, from a fan of the Bengals, well, yeah, Burrow should probably be, a quarterback with a few wins under his belt if they had any kind of defense. But at least they're not the Jets. So there you go. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Can they go 0-16? Can the New York Jets go 0-16? Do you believe in them that much? Or do you think they'll end up 1-15 and just mess the whole thing up? Let me know, and let me know which team you think they beat in their remaining schedule. Should they actually go 1-15 or 2-14? Or how many do you think they're going to win? Let me know your thoughts. Hit like and subscribe if you're browsing your way through. You just happened upon this video. And hey, thank you guys so much for watching. I will talk to you again soon.